Miami fans, don't be alarmed. Everybody's got players jumping in the transfer portal. It's nationwide. Or I'll say, don't be alarmed until we get the word from Cam Underwood, State of the U. He will let us know if this is meaningful. Of course, here in the next hour, right here at the Voice of College Football. It's Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, so we are glad that you know where to be. Cam, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm exactly where I need to be, obviously, here at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. So, ready to get into it. I'm going to make it a personal point to keep my answers a little bit shorter than normal, just a little bit. So the ends of, because sometimes the answers branch and then the branches branch and the branches branch. We're going to try to keep it to maybe just one branch, but here for the party, let's make it happen.
Either way, Cam, I will leave the editing up to you. You can do it either way if you want to take it that route, but we've never complained, have we?
Fair.
It's always good. All right. Well, transfer portal, I think to the average college football fan out there, Jalen Knighton is the one that is the headliner. Maybe not necessarily the most damaging to the team and the roster in the future, but I will let you run them down in regards to the latest batch and who's meaningful and who's not necessarily as hurtful of a loss.
Right. So in case you're wondering, yes, there are people leaving from every single team, every single day to the portal. And so for Miami, it's now 15 total who have announced that they're going into the portal. The last four were Jalen Knighton, Jordan Miller, Romello Brinson, and Daryl Jackson, the defensive tackle. Of those, Knighton, if people are just focusing on offense, that's going to be an impactful one. He's a guy who had almost 1,000 yards total. Here, he had some suspension issues for, weed and everything. But, if you remember back to North Carolina game last year, Louisville game before that, get him in space. And, that's a kid who can make guys miss and go the distance. So, yeah, that's a guy that, it matters that he's, leaving, but he also fumbled seven times in the last 10 games. It was 3-4 this year, then it was 4-6 with the later fumble, and then I think it was like 6 or 7 out of the last 10 games he played, he had a fumble. That's just a lot, and so you lose that. So that's the flip side of his performance, and you see the numbers on the screen there. The bigger one to me is Daryl Jackson Jr., the defensive tackle, number 6. He was a starter on this team this year, and I know that everything wasn't perfect for Miami at any level of the team, but he was a dynamic player. He's huge. Kevin Steele gave him a couple shout outs, said, hey, guys, teams don't even run at 6, because that was his jersey number. They don't even run at 6. And because him being there with his size and strength and skill impacts teams to the point where they're going to elect to run plays that go somewhere else to not have him be at the point of attack for that play and disrupt that play. He's the one that I think is the more impactful, because Miami's defensive line, for my money, was the best unit on the team this year, and losing a starter off of that unit who was a true sophomore and you figure was going to be back at least for another year, if not 2, before he maybe went to the NFL draft. And that's one that hurts more from a functional standpoint on the field. Now, I get why people are going to say Jalen Knighton. He's from Deerfield Beach. He's one of 2 guys in Broward County history to ever run for 5,000 yards. Him and the late Tyrone Moss, who was at Pompano Blanche Ely in high school. I get where you're going to say that. I get, you've lost a lot of local guys off of this roster. If you talk about recruiting locally first before nationally, in that latest group was Romello Brinson, who, if you remember, Mark, they pulled audio from this very show and played it in the video for his commitment a couple years ago. Miami Northwestern, right around, we talk about, crib talk and being in the crib. Like, that's the guy from Miami Northwestern who goes to Miami. Gilbert Frierson, he was here for 5 years. And he went to Coral Gables Senior High School, and he's related to whichever one, Frank Gore and them, who went to, Coral Gables Senior as well. That's another guy who's already announced. Thad Franklin from Chaminade, he's announced. Jalen Harrell, Elijah Roberts, all these guys are local dudes. But when you have a preponderance of local guys, you're going to have that kind of a thing happen. But yeah, for my money, Daryl Jackson's probably more impactful. So that was a surprise also. Knighton was he was on the list of maybe, probably. Knighton, Jackson, that was one that was a little bit more far afield. So that one hurts a little bit more. And especially because it's tough to get really big dudes who are fast and strong and move like that to play on your team. So yeah, I would say it would be, and I'm not saying that it's easy, and I know that guys are going to be mad about this. It's easier to replace someone like Jalen Knighton than it is somebody like Daryl Jackson. And for that reason, I think that's more impactful. But, for all 15 of the guys who are in the portal and any of those that either follow or, as I'm looking at my list and I'm not showing you guys, hopefully follow for a couple of them, wherever they end up, again, I honestly and truly wish them well. Just they might not be able to, hack it here at Miami, and we're going to try to find the group that can.
We've got a Iowa show that we do on Tuesday night, and somebody put in the chat because Iowa's lost an alarming number of key players, 2 of those on a defense that's elite and an offense that's deplorable, but still lost like their second or third best running back, their second or third best wide receiver, their best wide receiver. And then, I was just pointing out that there's a certain look to this, especially when they've got an elite defense and they're losing one of their best corners and their best linebacker. What's the cause of this? And somebody puts in the chat, well, Miami's lost 13 players. And I said, well, you got to understand something here. And I will let you take off on the point that I made because you're going to know 50,000 layers beyond it. I said, this works 2 ways. And in my contact with Miami information is more from the standpoint of, hey, we brought in a fringe top 10 class last year. We're bringing in a 5 to 10 class this year. This is more about Mario Cristobal sitting down with players saying, hey, this is where you stand. You may want to.
And I mean, he said it himself after the
Miami program,
Right. I mean, like I said, Cristobal said it himself after the final game. Everybody will not be asked to stay here. Everyone will not be asked back. And I think you're seeing some of those. I mean, if you look down, Gilbert Frierson was honorable mention all ACC last year in 2021, excuse me. But then you get rid of Manny Diaz, and his staff had John Patke. And John Patke was the one who came up with the striker position as that hybrid hang defender. And that's the position that Frierson plays. So he's a tweener now. He's not really a safety, and he's not really a linebacker. He's that perfect star striker, whatever you want to call it. But Kevin Steele doesn't play that position. So there's a guy who was honorable mention all ACC, and then he only played on specials and like a handful of, regular base defense snaps, like in the Bethune game where he had a pick 6. But I mean, that's against an FCS team, HBCU team, and things like that. So that's not even like I hate you and you're terrible, and but you just don't fit what our new paradigm is. So you can stay in Miami. I mean, again, you went to Coral Gables Senior High School, which is literally, right down the street. I mean, like, it's a decent walk if you want to walk it, but like if you got a bike, that's a 6-8 minute bike ride from Miami's campus. Like Coral Gables High is right there. You can stay. You want to get that 2nd, 3rd degree because you've been here 5 or 6 years? Great. But in terms of playing on the field, sorry, guy, you play a position that we don't employ in our scheme. If you look down at the list, further, Thad Franklin, he played himself off of the roster, basically. We were playing Lucius Stanley from UAB, who was a scholarship player there and a walk-on here. We were playing him before we were playing Thad for whatever reason that there is, and I can speculate some. Jalen Harrell, he was a 4-star guy. He never played. Keyshawn Washington, he came in and he was, part of a group there a couple of years ago, but like he didn't play much. Elijah Roberts didn't play much. Avante Williams played, but there were rumblings that, locker room culture kind of things. Daryl Jackson played a ton, and people were saying that he wants to go to Florida State because his mother is ill and she lives in Quincy, Florida, which is a 30-minute ride from Tallahassee. You want to be closer to your mom's? Hey, I'm not going to begrudge you that. Jalen Knighton, he hit the bench for a while because he kept putting the ball on the ground. Jordan Miller was a rotation dude, but you're not going to start here at defensive tackle. Romello Brinson, He played some at the end of the year, but yeah, we're looking to bring in better wide receivers. Keyshawn Smith was looking like he was going to be a star at wide receiver, and then all of a sudden he never played. Al Blades, I mean, he was here for 5 years and he's moving on. And Isaiah Dunson, was another blue chipper at cornerback who could not, make the rotation. There's a reason for all of these guys not to be asked back, honestly and truly. I mean, or in the case of Jackson, to choose not to come back. But yeah, the sky is not falling. This is exactly what we talked about, guys. If you've been here on a Wednesday night, I said, look, it could be upwards of 20 people who leave off of this roster. We're already at 15. I don't think we're going to get to 30 like I saw some people talk about, but I mean, 5 more, and I got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, and Alan Hay was at the bottom of the roster, so he wasn't going to play, but he's another guy. But there's 13 or 14 other guys that were on my list. And if everybody on my list doesn't go, there's others who weren't on my list, like Avante and Daryl Jackson, who've already been in the portal. This is what we're talking about flipping this roster. Then I said this 2 weeks ago, Mark. I said, we're probably going to flip 95% of this roster between this year and next year. This is part of that process, guys. I get that we get tied to the recruits. And, I write the recruiting notebooks. I'm in the middle of writing them right now. I put in time, effort, research. I watch all these highlights. All these things, bro, right? So I get it. Yeah, I want them to be here, and I think that there's a path towards success for them in a perfect world. It doesn't work out like that for everybody. Some people get injured. Some people just don't live up to their expectations or whatever, right? But for whatever reason, anybody want to root for these guys to do well and be great on the Miami Hurricanes roster. Excuse me, that's simply not the case. And to get the kind of players like Cristobal wants, and we all want and need so that the result changes on the field, that means some guys got to go. So you can't have it both ways. We can't be talking all season about, oh man, I can't wait till Cristobal flips this roster. Oh man, I can't wait to da-da-da. And then guys start leaving and then, oh my God, Cam, when are we going to get guys to come in? And we've lost 24 or 14 guys. And then you can't have it both. You literally cannot have it both ways. You can't. So to quote hip hop, if you're scared, go to church. But if you are overreacting to the fact of everybody leaving or people leaving, where's there a guy other than Deshaun McCullough from Indiana, All-American freshman, who's going from there to Oklahoma, already committed, right? Apart from that, who else in the portal is committed somewhere? Made it known, right? So it's not like, closing time and you're trying to find one to take home and it's slim pickings because it's 2 a.m. at the bar and there's nobody left and you're trying to, secure companionship for the rest of the night. We're not at that point at all, not even close. This is just getting started. There's still going to be other guys from teams across America that go into the portal. Wait until after, you got like a week and a half, but closer towards the bowl games in like a week or two, you're going to see even more guys enter this portal. So you need to relax. And if you're going to trust this process of talent acquisition of Mario Cristobal that he's been preaching and everybody else has bought into, right? Because to get where we need to go, we need to build a team like we want it to be. If you're going to accept that and go with that in the terms of high school recruiting, prep recruiting, you have to follow that same process and give that same grace and faith in the transfer portal. Now, if it does not work out that way, we can come back and we can talk about that. But there is no indicator, there is nothing showing that the way that things are going right now for Miami portend disaster later, that we're just waiting and all these other All-Americans, all these other great guys, all these other incredible players are already committing everywhere else, and Miami is grasping at straws like they were last year in the portal, trying to get a wide receiver that could do anything. Other than, be a decent possession receiver, which we got in Frank Ladson. But, it's not there yet. And if you're panicking, relax and give it time. And then we can reconvene and see how it goes. But relax, bro. Relax.
Yeah, Phil Jerkovic is the only other player I can think of that moved on from BC as the starting quarterback and goes to Pitt. Cade McNamara is a grad transfer, so that's a different category. There was no starting
Right.
date for grad transfers going from Michigan to Iowa. Falcon
So
Rex, we
that brings it
appreciate
up to 3 people. Great.
out of 1,000 on the
Exactly.
first
Come on,
day. I
bro.
don't know what it is now. Shoot.
And that's just at the FBS level. There's FCS D2 and D3 also. So like, yeah, relax.
Falcon Rex asks, do you think any of the young men who are in the portal should or will end up staying?
Should, I mean, that valuation is really up to the individual if they should or should not. I would prefer it, if like a Daryl Jackson wanted to stay, if he elected to stay. But I do not think that any of the ones who are in the portal will be returning to Miami. I don't think they're going to take their name out and just be like, "Oh yeah, no, cool, coach, we're good. Yeah, no, I'm gonna be back." I don't see that. And I literally went down the list and talked about either the playing time or the cultural issues or personal, in the case of Daryl Jackson, issues for why they entered the portal. And I mean, absent those changing, and they haven't, like, I don't see it. Like, I'm not going to stick around and not play. So, no, the answer to the question is no.
Cam Underwood, State of the U, breaking things down for us as he does each and every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. And get on over to State of the U and check out Cam and the rest of the staff there covering, I guess, men's and women's basketball at this point. And of course, football never stops. So transfer portal, recruiting, and National Signing Day is 2 weeks from tonight.
True story.
Any leans, any rumors?
Well, I mean, everybody is panicking also because Alabama is trying to take a run at Cormoney McClain late here. And, like, you got to, if you want top players, you're going to have to beat top teams in the world of recruiting to get them. Just that, Cormoney committed is not terminal to his recruitment. And it's not terminal to other teams' interests either. Like, because he said, okay, I'm going to go to Miami. Alabama didn't say, oh, cool, don't want him anymore. Nah, I'm good. No. So, like, you got to go toe-to-toe, and you got to close these, not just to a commitment ceremony, but all the way to and through receiving a national letter of intent. It has to happen. So, these are the battles that you brought Mario Cristobal here for. And you brought him in to win these battles. Not that another team is going to quit. Not that they're going to pack up shop and go somewhere else, though, I mean, it would make life easier. No, to go and close this down and win in the end this recruiting battle. So, you're talking about that. You're talking about, look, Miami has a top 10 class right now. There's players in this group and players that we're, recruiting. The teams all across the country want. That's just a simple fact. I'm not fearful. I'm not scared. If it so happens that Cormoney or whomever else decides to go elsewhere, you pick it up and you keep moving, But I saw somebody who works in the world of recruiting just being idiots. Like, oh, if Cormoney goes to Alabama, reevaluate everything about Miami's recruiting, and this is da 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 da. No. Like, that's a ridiculous statement. That is a shock jock, troll to get people talk. Like, nobody honestly believes that, even if it's one player, right? And I will just go with the example because the talk right now is about Cormoney McClain. Assume he goes to Alabama or somewhere else, right? Jaden Wayne was a 5-star the entire way up until recently, and he's a high 4-star. Francis Mauagoa, 5-star. We just flipped Colin Zanchampong, 4-star. An incredible player. Joshua Horton should be a 4-star. Like, let's go down the list because I have it open. Malik Bryant, 4-star. Riley Williams, 4-star, number 3 at his position. Ray Joseph, 4-star. Robert Stafford, 4-star. Bobby Washington, 4-star. Raul Aguirre, 4-star. Antoine Jackson, 4-star. Like, Antonio Tripp, he plays interior offensive line. They're only going to be but so highly rated, but that's a kid I want on my team. Connor Liu, I don't know how he's only a 500 rated or in the 500s in player ranking. That is a monster on the field. Go watch the film. Bobby Washington, he should be a higher rated as well because he can fly. Jackson Carver, Reed McKeska, Tommy Kinsler, Florida had him committed. We flipped him. Marcellus Pulliam, that's another guy. Look, turn on the film. I'll take that dude on my team any day of the week and twice on Saturday. Emory Williams, Elite 11 quarterback, probably a year or two away from playing, but that's another guy with skill. Frankie Tinalau, he's New Zealander or whatever, Australian. He just moved out here. So, yeah, he's lowly rated because he's really only played one full year of football. But, look, I saw that dude after one of the games in the tunnels below Hard Rock Stadium as they were on the way to the locker room on a recruiting unofficial visit. Listen, that is a large human being. And, he even said, Tennessee or somebody else is coming after him. He said, no, I'm good. I'm going to Miami. There are players all up and down this list who want to be Hurricanes, who are, I think, the kind of guys that we want to have, whether they're 4-star, 5-star, even some 3-stars. And look, you're going to have 3 stars on your roster, so I'm not going to throw them away with, throw out the baby with the bathwater. But even if Cormani goes somewhere else, that does not negate the talent of the rest of that group and the battles that were won to get these guys. Reed, what's his name? Reed Williams, isn't it? I think it is. Riley Williams, who, from Portland, Oregon, transfers down to IMG Academy, and he's one of the top tight ends in America. Jaden Wayne from Seattle, again, same thing. And I know that there was the connection between Mark Cristobal and these players from before, but you still won those battles against those teams and those programs that you left. At Oregon, they're not recruiting at a Miami level, but they're recruiting at a damn fine level, right? See the guys that they got up there. Beating Oregon that you built and left for those guys is still a feat. That is still a positive result in the world of recruiting. So you can get caught up, and this is the royal you, the impersonal you. A person can get caught up in singular data points, in singular things, transactions that happen in the world of recruiting. You need to step back from it like a Jackson Pollock and say, okay, cool, what does this entire picture give me? And even if in the end you do lose a player like Cormani, it would suck and I would hate it. It does not ruin your sandcastle. It does not undo all of the other work that you have done and will make it all the way through the conclusion of this cycle.
Yeah, select whatever programs you believe to be the best in college football. And if you track their recruiting, they're losing recruiting battles. Everyone does. Everyone gets guys flipped on them.
Michigan just made it to number 2 before in the college football playoff rankings before the Big Ten championship game, and we went in there and flipped Collins Anchampong that very week. Bro, what? And I mean, like, look, again, I know that we need cornerbacks. I know Cormani McClain is the number 1 player in Florida. I know that he's, he plays in a high valuation position in just the world of football and the scheme that we play. I get it. He's an elite player. He's tall. He's fast. He's strong. He's maybe a little bit thinner than you want, but he has these incredible ball skills because he played offense. I understand all of those things, but one player does not a team make. And let's not assume that because there's been this chatter that happens, that he does end up leaving, because we've seen these things happen before. And even, Al Golden, Mark Richt, Manny Diaz, even those coaches shut down some of the late interest from other teams for high-profile players who ended up playing here. So do not all just immediately assume, oh my God, somebody in the world of recruiting said that Cormani wants to go to Alabama. That means he's, wearing, crimson and cream now. It could happen, but it very well also might not happen. And remember that as you go forward as well.
Our buddy Falconer X wants to know if you've heard of rumors of Ray Lewis going to Jackson State.
I have not heard any coaching rumors for any team.
I guess until we get another Miami topic, I'll throw this one at you, just college football playoffs. So we've got
Oh, sorry. Before we get
yeah,
there,
we'll
I
do it.
apologize. According to CBS Sports, according to The Athletic, according to Bleacher Report, your first team All American safety is number 24 in your program and number 1 in your hearts, Cameron Kinchins. So, from all of those, I expect from the Football Writers Association of America as well, and probably a couple other lists, award giving groups, first team All ACC, and everything. But yeah, I mean, he had an incredible season, and it does my heart good to see even a strong season on a bad team is being recognized as such, because in the past that has not been the case with Miami, when we've had guys who I think should have had more accolades than they actually got during seasons that weren't the greatest, and they were overlooked because of the result. His singular performance warrants what we're seeing. And so that's really, great. And, congratulations to Cam. Great name, even though you spell it with a K. But yeah, just really, really great to see that for him. And there was something else I was going to say, but I forget it. So, yeah.
And
Wait, sorry. No, the other one on the flip side of the transfer portal conversation. According to reports, including from Marcus Benjamin of the new Rivals Miami website, both Tyler Van Dyke and Jake Garcia will be returning to Miami next year, which is a really big win, if true. I know that people want to be, you look at this season and a 5-7 record and all these things. I get it. It was not what you want. But even with the struggles that we had, Tyler Van Dyke is a starting quarterback, and he's a damn good one in this league and in college. Getting him to come back, that's a huge recruiting job. That's a huge recruiting win for Mario Cristobal if he stays on this roster. Because this is a guy who, might have thought about going to the league this year. And now you're going to push that off at least another year. But if you keep both of those guys, now you're going to add Emory Williams. You're not going to rush him. Now you can actually give Jakari Brown the redshirt year that I think that he needs to grow. That's really, really, really a big win. And again, that makes the numbers work on 4 quarterbacks. It's different composition than the 4 I was talking about before, which was Jake Garcia, Jakari Brown, Jaden Rashada, and Emory Williams. But Tyler Van Dyke comes back. There's your starter. Jake Garcia playing some rotation late games, but really looking towards 2024 to make his case towards an NFL career. And thereafter, that's really, I didn't expect both of them back. I fully expected one or the other to leave, to be perfectly honest, because, Tyler, unless and until, the offensive line gets better, there's going to be some struggles. He got beat up and, he missed so much time this year because he got hurt, because he got hit a lot. And then, you're getting into the third year of Jake Garcia in college, which is like, I want to play, and everything. I was not expecting both of those guys coming back. But, according to the report from Marcus Benjamin and the chatter from other people as well, it at this point looks like both of those guys will be returning. Now, we'll see, in the end. But if they both return, that's a really big positive for Miami in general and specific, regardless of if you agree or if you don't. But if you don't, then with all due respect, you're wrong.
Yeah, Garcia is the one that surprises me just because of the obvious. You've got an established starter, and it is year 3.
I just thought it was a very clear, whichever way he goes, I go the other way thing for Jake. But from today on December 7th, it seems otherwise, which is kind of incredible, but also a big boon, a big win for Miami.
This is going deep into the bag of personnel, because usually if you don't have a returning punter, you usually don't really know what's going on there at this point of the game. We just finished up the last season, but Falconer is asking about replacing Lou Hedley.
Yeah, his name is Will Hutchinson. He punted actually one game this year because Hedley was injured. He went out before pregame and strained his hamstring. And so Hutchinson punted. He was wearing number 97 or something like that. But yeah, he had 3 punts for like 50 or like 48 a punt, 46 and a half a punt. He transferred down from Oregon and everything. And yeah, he handled the duties from Lou the one day, and Lou Hedley officially announced his intent to go into the NFL draft, which, hey, great for him. But yeah, he had 3. So Will Hutchinson, he punted in one game. It was the Middle Tennessee State game, which, hey, everybody's favorite. 3 punts for 142 yards, a 47.3 yard average. So yeah, that seems to be who we're going to roll with. He did the job well the one time that he was asked to do it, and it was the entire game and everything. So yeah, I believe that is the way that we're going to go with punter for the next season. There was, talk when he came down last year following Cristobal, and everything. But yeah, I believe that that's going to be Will Hutchinson's job for the next couple of years moving forward.
So Will Hutchinson is really the guy that Miami fans should be blaming for all those 94 and 96-yard touchdown plays, because he's the one that pinned Middle Tennessee down.
Yeah. I mean, there was a turnover involved in one of them, but yeah, he had punts that were way down there, and then they just turned around and took it the distance. So yeah, shame on you, Will Hutchinson.
We're talking Canes. We got Cam here. So we hope you appreciate that. Cam's here every Wednesday night, but of course, subscribe and hit that bell for the notifications to know when we go live, because we got to switch it up from time to time. And again, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Next up, let's see. I should have something in my brain to move us on to. I don't see anything in the chat. I will say this. We've got an agreement from the Rose Bowl to change their some of their restrictions and so forth, limitations, that has moved up the college football playoff. We've touched on this topic from time to time, but not very often, because we're typically full of Miami news and information. But where do you stand on this playoff? What is your playoff of choice?
4 or 8 is mine. It just works out in an easy bracket, and I know that they're going to do the 12 with the 4 buys. But yeah, I'm fine with it. And yeah, the Rose Bowl, they're just like, hey, as long as y'all will conform with, we're going to play the game on January 1st. So just know that. But if you can get down with that, then, sure. But, the Rose Bowl, I mean, yeah, the granddaddy of them all, like that's, they have a huge foundation. Rose Bowl money is big time money, so yeah, they held leverage in a way that other things don't. I mean, it's not the exact same, but it's like, when Augusta National was going through some of the backlash for their sexist and racist policies, they're like, yeah, well, we're not gonna be able to sell sponsorship or advertisement to, show your tournament on CBS anymore. And they just said, we'll pay for it. So they said, what? That's like one of the biggest tournaments. It's a major, it's an iconic thing. It's hundreds of millions of dollars for the advertising or whatever. And, the president of Augusta National just said, we'll pay for it. We'll buy all the advertising. We will subsidize televising our own event. The Rose Bowl is not to that exact same level, but the fact that the whole college football playoff expansion thing was beholden to getting an agreement with the Rose Bowl shows that, yeah, they have the kind of money and influence to make everything stop unless or until they get what they want and need from the situation and scenario. Because y'all want us as a New Year's Six bowl game. You want us as the granddaddy of them all, this major bowl game in this iconic location to be, part of this rotation, part of this whole thing, right? Notice how I didn't say Rose Bowl needs y'all. Y'all want us. So if you want us, here's a list of demands. Make that happen. And, good on them for, having the leverage, knowing that they have the leverage and employing it to their own success.
It's always the most viewed of the bowl games. And even when it's not part of the college football playoff, as was the case last year, go look at the TV ratings. They were right in the range of the two semifinal games.
Yeah, because it's the Rose Bowl. It's just different. And I'm not even saying that, like Mark, I'm a native Midwesterner, right? So, it was traditionally Big Ten and Pac-10. And, I'm not even saying because I'm a native Michigander. It just is different. Trust me.
EJ would like to know your feeling on the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinators potentially changing.
I'm down for anything that gets Miami to the success that we want and need. And if that is a change in paradigm, if that is a change in personnel, whether that be on the field or in the coaching ranks, I'm here for it. At a minimum, if those guys return, those being Josh Gaddis and Kevin Steele, if we're not seeing the result and the change that we need to see 4 or 5 games in the next year, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. Look, just like Bobby Ross said when he coached the Detroit Lions, you get a swift bus ticket out of town. And look, those guys have had success in their careers. We know their extensive resumes. So I'm not saying that they can't coach. I'm saying that it didn't go well last year for a variety of reasons, including some of the coaching decisions and schematic, deployments from both guys. I would have loved to get Phil Longo from Carolina, but he's going to work with his friend Luke Fickell at Wisconsin as of a couple hours ago, which is crazy. I would thank Kevin Steele for his decades of experience and 1 year of dedicated work performance at the University of Miami. Tomorrow, if we call Jim Leonard, who is not returning to Wisconsin, and they're like, yo, come down here, run our defense for a year or two, and you'll get that head coaching job that you want. Unfortunately for him, somewhere that's not Madison, Wisconsin, for a Wisconsin native. But hey, Jim Leonard, you want to come down here and run this defense? He says yes. Hey, Kevin, you want to come down the hallway to my office right quick? I would definitely take that. But yeah, it's, for me, it's not necessarily the name. It's really the scheme that underlies it and the ability to make it happen. So, yeah, if they remain, if the coordinators remain, the case is, number one, continuity, and that an improved roster would improve the performance overall of running the scheme that they want to employ. However, you have to have that work product. You have to get those results early on, but in the first half of next year, or you're gone, period. In terms of specific on Gaddis, there's been a lot of talk, a lot. Depending on who you listen to, he's not in recruiting pictures because he's not on the trail right now. According to who you listen to, he may or may not have interviewed for other jobs. According to who you listen to, he's coming back totally, and he's just, whatever they're going through, the end of year process that they always go through. It could go any number of ways. My gut feeling is that he's not the offensive coordinator next year. That's my gut feeling. And I could very well be wrong. But regardless of if they stay into next year or whatever, either both coordinators, the demonstrable performance has to be different next year. It just does. Tim.
Tim's our USC guy. He wants Jim Leonard bad, apparently.
Yeah, they got the best fight song in America. Oh my God. It sounds like Trojans. It just done from the build up and everything. Like it just, it's the best fight song in America. It honestly is. The counter melodies and everything in there. Like it, yeah. I love the USC fight song. I really, really honestly do. I don't agree that Jim Leonard's going to go out there. He's going to come down to Miami instead. But hey, yeah, we'll see.
So in evaluating Gaddis in particular, this could go for any offensive coordinator. We'll stick on that side of the ball. You know, when you're watching the games week after week after week, knowing the roster, the personnel, generally having a pretty good idea based on how long that particular player's played at the school, what their capabilities are or are not. How much do you feel comfortable making an evaluation after, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 games on how much of the lack of production is to lay at the feet of the OC as a play caller, schemer versus lack of execution or lack of talent?
I mean, I think I feel comfortable because, like, if you can't scheme success, then what are we doing? You know, I mean, not even in small ways. You know, there's no. You know, Rhett Lashlee was not a perfect offensive coordinator at all. But if teams wanted to give Miami free yards, took them. You know, how do you think that Charleston Rambo got all those catches and yards? You want to play off? Hut. Boom. You know. Like, if your heels are at 10 as a cornerback because you think that Charleston Rambo is going to run by you, that's going to be a 1, 2, 3. I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn around. That rocket from Tyler Van Dyke is going to be there. I'm going to catch it. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to go upfield because you want to give us those yards. You're not fighting us about those yards, so we'll take those yards. Where were the free yard plays this year? Where were the easy rhythm throws that got any of the quarterbacks who played this year going? And there is some of, okay, maybe the receivers couldn't separate or they're like, yeah, but like you got to have something that can get just free yards, something that's nice and easy, you know, to get somebody started. Even Clemson with their offense, they schemed up some easy stuff for DJ in the beginning of the ACC championship game. Now, it's DJ's fault that DJ missed those, right? But like there were free yards. There were easy, you know, we'll settle you down plays that they called and designed and ran on those first 2 drives. I watched every snap of that game. Trust me, all my group chats and everything were going crazy because I was letting them know I told you about going to the club level this whole damn season, and Dabo wasted a potential playoff chance for not doing it and playing DJ that entire damn South Carolina game. Y'all are stupid. It is not hard to see. I was right then, and I am more right now, and y'all going to listen to me be loud and right about this, goddammit, right? But even before they finally said, we're going to pull the plug on DJ, they got him free access plays, easy yards, easy throws for an offense that has major foundational, schematic, and structural issues at Clemson. Everybody's talking about this, right? Even they found ways to find those. But Miami can't find any of those? With a quarterback who's better? Nothing? Yeah. I mean, I think that we should be able to see the performance and production, is better, you know, through 4 or 5 games next year. You know, we should see, you know, kind of like how Pittsburgh was in the finale against Miami. If we have games where we're only running 9 or maybe 12, like 9 or 10 third down plays total, Oh, we're not even getting the third downs because we're converting on first and second. Maybe we're having explosive touchdowns and explosive plays. And I'm going to eventually revise that explosive plays piece from week 3 before we went to Texas A&M, where everybody said, you're too early. You don't know what you're talking about. It's a small sample size and it means nothing. And I said at that time that the way that things were trending were portending impending doom, right? That was Vesuvius that started making noise. And I said, hey, Vesuvius is making noise. Everybody here in Pompeii, Vesuvius is making noise. Say, it doesn't mean anything. If you look it up, Vesuvius erupted and it overflowed and it decimated the city of Pompeii in Greece. Like it's a thing that happened. It's history, 79 AD, I think it was, right? But I'm here saying, I hear something from the volcano, bro. That's not good for us. Everyone said, nah, it's natural. It's normal. It's a Tuesday. Don't worry about it. It'll run its course. It has no impact on us in the future. Now that our offensive season has been consumed by hot lava, maybe now you will see that me screaming beforehand, something's wrong over there, was actually the case.
I got a name for you. It's showing up in the chat now, and I actually meant to bring him up. Yes. One Justin Flo. He's in the
bring him on. Bring him down. Come on with it. Y'all already know we were recruiting Justin Flo as a 5-star linebacker out of Upland, California, three years ago. Now he ended up choosing Mario Cristobal and the Oregon Ducks instead of Manny Diaz and the Miami Hurricanes. But he's a guy who's he battled some injury issues and things. And yeah, he's in the transfer portal. And like, yo, get a new start, bro. You know, play for the coach that you wanted to play for. You know, and help our linebacker room, bro. I'm 100% here for it. I'm 100% with it. And there's other guys in the portal. There's wide receivers. There's offensive linemen. There's a dude, last name Cohen from Alabama. Jarius Cohen, I think it is, as an offensive guard. Yup, bring him down. Now, if you got Jalen Rivers at one guard, and then Jarius at the other at the other guard, hey. Now we're getting towards having the kind of team that we want to have. So, like, I'm with it. And LBC Trojan, I appreciate it. Shout out to the LBC. But, like, this is more than just a hat rack, bro. Like, I need to shave. It's not just a cue ball up here. Like, I know a couple things, baby. I know a couple things.
Yeah, our buddy LBC Trojan, Rick here, and Tim get together for our USC post-game show. So they contribute here at the Voice of College Football. Those guys are phenomenal. Do a Pac-12 chat show on Wednesday as well. So these guys are going to be getting together here, let's see, in about 3 hours, folks, over on the main channel and the USC and Oregon channels doing a little Pac-12 chat.
Nice.
So it's good stuff. All right. We covered everything?
I think so.
Going once, twice, and 3 times in the chat. Anything else for you folks? All right.
I mean, yeah, it really comes down to the world of recruiting and me writing all these recruiting notebooks and everything. And, Chris Ball's still doing what we brought him here to do. Nobody. And that's why you don't watch the JV hour, or you put the JV hour on while you're cooking dinner and while you're, cleaning and just relaxing from a long day at work. And then you come and watch the varsity, baby. You come watch the big show. And that's where you get the references like Mount Vesuvius and things like that. Exactly.
You guys put me in conflict. I'm just
that's why I'm comfortable with saying it, and that's perfectly fine. Jason knows what's up. I would see Jason every week at the damn press box, and whatnot. We would talk and at the yes. And everything. So yeah, I know those guys and everything, but yeah, it's a thing. The boss said that
I got to hear him complain.
My vocabulary is. I use my vocabulary to embarrass and intimidate people. So, hey, whatever. But you guys like it. You guys love it. You guys need some more of it. So be sure that you come back on Wednesday night. Yo, what up, Holloway?
All right. Speaking of which, we'll be with the Wholesome One here on Thursday for more.
Very nice.
And I certainly know that the Wholesome One would like to get together with the two of us here at some point. So, Wholesome One, you can jump on, but we'll figure that out.
Absolutely.
Cam, we appreciate it as always.
Yeah, man. So maybe a signing day spectacular that evening or something. But yeah, hey, let us know. But yeah, I appreciate you guys as well. We're over at stateoftheu.com. Just trying to get prepared for everything. So I'm focusing on recruiting, but Craig T. Smith just wrote a piece of the 8 players that he would hate to lose off of the roster to the transfer portal. So you can go and check that out. I'm sure that you guys can guess a couple of the names that are on there already. Capicane, he's been talking about some of these bobblehead things with Foco USA, I believe that is. So go and check those things out. Got recruiting stuff coming up. Mike Schiffman, Rob Weaver, and Chris Picaro are handling all of our basketball coverage. So every week, the Monday This Week in Basketball, which covers both men's and women's basketball, and other features in game recaps as well. So we have all that going on and everything. You'll hear a little bit more from us about some other things as well. So, just be sure that you, bookmark the page and check it daily, stateoftheu.com. On Twitter, we're at The State of the U, and my personal Twitter is at Underwood Sports. Just come on over and fan with us. And, hey, if you ever see us around, just give us a little bit of feedback and just, introduce yourself. But, we're here, with and for you guys. And, we love doing that. So, thank you so much. Hope you interact with us there. And thank you so much for watching. And we hope to see you next week.
Folks, if you grab a friend or two, we double or triple size it next Wednesday. How about that? Bring it on back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Cam, thank you so much. We don't have a show without you.
Not a problem. You guys be easy.